Welcome, everybody, to the Richard Perry podcast, where Richard tells you everything there is to know about cars. And one of the great things about Richard is he's created a new course called Autonomics. Now, a lot of you are sitting there going, Autonomics, what is that? It's the economics of cars and vehicles in general. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Richard J. Perry, author of one of the best books on cars, How to Buy a Car Without Being Taken for a Ride. Hey, welcome, Richard.
Thank you, Ken.
So it's exciting. So today, we've had many interviews where you've interviewed people, but today I'm going to interview you because you've been giving advice to people and you've been bringing people on that are related in the auto industry, but a lot of people don't know who you are and why you got yourself involved in creating a podcast, an education course for teens, and then also helping people improve their credit, improve their quality of life by buying a car that meets their needs. Sure. So let's start from the very beginning. When you first got into the auto business, how many years ago would that be?
1984, so what's been 44 years?
44 years.
Yeah. Or 42 years, excuse me.
42 years.
Yeah, 42
So
years.
why did you decide to write a book after 42 years in the business?
Well, people that buy cars, they do it maybe once every 5 years. So
Right.
they don't know that much about it, right? And it can be intimidating. Well, me selling cars, I do the process maybe 100, 150 times a month. So I can get a lot of practice and see a lot. It has to do with I've had the practice of doing it, right?
Right.
And I've also been on both sides of the desk. I've been with my daughter buying a car or my son and on this. So I've been on both sides of the desk, so I get it. And the difference is I have the information that would save people a lot of time and money, but without the dreaded hassle.
Well, I understand, like on the back cover of the book, it says show how to save between $2,000 and probably now $20,000 on the purchase of a car. So I understand how much is a current new car going for on average?
Interesting. It's like almost $53,000, like $52,700 is the average price of a new car today.
So what happens is when somebody buys a brand new car, they drive off the lot. Is that car still worth $50,000?
Oh, absolutely not. Now it's a used car, right? As soon as that registration, we call it a report of sale, is put on that window, it's now a used car. So if you turn around and say, when we try to trade it in, you're not going to get anything near what you paid for it. Not to mention, you're out the tax and the license, which is roughly about 12%, 8.75% sales tax. It could be even more depending on where you live, and about 2.5% of the sale price for the license fees.
So basically, you could save 15% on that depreciation. So we'll get into depreciation in a second. But the bottom line is that it's cheaper to buy a used car as far as the state is concerned in terms of charging you for license and taxes and all of that.
Sure. Well, used car, when I say you can get cars that are barely used, so maybe still under the factory warranty. There's something that's under. So, for example, when you buy a new car, in 3 years, it's going to depreciate about 50% is the average.
Okay.
So let's just use round numbers. Let's round the new car price down to $50,000, just so it's easier to do the math.
Yeah.
At $50,000 car, a new car that you bought now, after 3 years, it's worth $25,000.
Wow.
What a big. So the thing is that I would say to buy a used car that's maybe 2 to 3 years old, and many times it'll still be under the factory warranty, still on it, because they have 5-year, 60,000 miles. Some of them have 100,000 mile powertrain warranties on them. You can get that warranty on it, but then let the depreciation, the biggest depreciation, let the first buyer take that, and you can buy it for the lower price. And it's new to you, right? It's still a new car. Right.
I've seen some of these new used cars, what you call used cars out there.
Sure.
And I look at them and I couldn't really tell the difference, especially since the makes and models are not changing that much from year to year. So a lot of people can't really tell the difference between one BMW and the next BMW.
That's right. And the other thing too is on vehicle values, Typically, when a manufacturer makes car for about 5 or 6 years, it's pretty much going to stay the same. It's not exactly. They'll make subtle changes.
Right.
Then they'll do a major body style change after about 5 years. So, also, if you can kind of time it on when you're buying that new used car, or
right.
that used, buy it after maybe when it's been out. So that way, when you buy that car, the next year car and all that will still look like your car, if you want to. I'm just saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's it. And you've had it where you buy a car and the very next year, all of a sudden now it's changed. You can buy a new car and all of a sudden, wow, I sure like the new body style, but
right.
It's just, and that's just, I think I call that the sweet spot of used cars, just buying a 3-year-old used car.
Well, because you get all the benefits of a new car without the price tag that you would have paid if you bought the car at the dealership.
And think about it. People basically buy a car about every 5 years, right?
Right.
And the thing about it is, if you buy a used car, how much money you're saving, $25,000 every 5 years, that can add up to quite a bit.
Well, we actually did a calculation at Apex, which is a group you belong to, and we came up with the idea that you could save by only buying used cars from the very beginning, when you buy your first car to your last car, you could probably save close to $1 million.
In your lifetime, absolutely.
Over a lifetime, because of the thing that we call depreciation. Now, what is depreciation? Everybody's always talking about depreciation. I know in real estate, depreciation is the lowering value of the property, quote unquote, but it still goes up in value. But with cars, that's not the case, right?
Sure, it's a machine. It's semi-operating, and things wear out. It's going to be. And you know what? Your depreciation can be your friend. So again, buying a 3-year-old used car,
right?
It's depreciated that 50%, and then you get that advantage, of that. So you can work for you. The thing is that then the 4th year and the 5th year depreciation isn't as much. It's
right.
That first 3 years is the biggest drop, and then it's about 10%.
10%
after that.
Okay.
So it's not that much.
So you actually could probably sell the car for pretty much, for a little bit less than what you paid for it because of inflation or whatever, when you sell the used car after year 6.
Right, sure.
Okay.
And it also has to do with how well you maintain the car. How's it look, Well,
let's talk about maintenance, because that's a big part of the Autonomics that people don't really take into consideration. They look at buying a car as, okay, I buy it, drive it, forget about maintenance, right? I'll defer maintenance. What does deferred maintenance mean, and why is it bad?
You know what? Changing the oil is cheap. You can get oil changes $30, $40. I've seen them, these, $29 oil changes, and that's going to save you a lot of problems. For the fact that it's there, change your oil every 3,000 miles. When the manufacturer says 5,000, 6,000, no, 3,000. I tell you, changing your oil on time, you'll be able to catch a lot of problems up front. There could be a hose that maybe just has a crack in it or something that they'll point out to you. And that's a $25 hose to fix that versus not fixing it and find out you just overheated your car and now you've got to replace the engine. And that's, of course, now that ruins the car, right? And sometimes you can get so many miles on your car, and then you replace the engine or transmission, it costs more to fix it than what the car's worth. And you want to prevent that. The whole idea is that you want the car to pay you back. The longer you keep it, the less you're going to, and just maintain it. Change the oil, change the brakes, rotate those tires every other oil change. The car will last a lot longer.
Yeah, because I've seen cars, they brag about them every once in a while on the YouTube, that have 2 million miles.
Right, sure.
So obviously somebody was taking good care of that car.
You're maintaining it, and they like it, sure.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's get back to your life story a little bit. So when you rolled into, became a salesperson, right? Mm-hmm. Where did you start?
I started selling Oldsmobiles and Chevrolets in Hemet, called Mike Reed Chevrolet and Oldsmobile. Now the location is an Applebee's restaurant, but it was right on the and selling Oldsmobiles, which Oldsmobile is out of business now. They've closed. That was a division of General Motors, and they were like the step, I guess, under Cadillac, right?
Right.
Oldsmobile.
Right.
In fact, my grandparents had Oldsmobiles all the time.
Well, and that would be kind of consistent with the Emmett area, right? A lot of older folks driving Oldsmobiles. So that was actually probably a pretty good brand at that time.
It was. It was a very good brand. I liked it very much. I owned a few new ones myself, and used ones.
Exactly.
Right.
So then you worked did you work your way up at that dealership? Or
I did. I was a salesman, and then they call a closer a team manager.
Okay.
But also, and the part that I really liked is being the finance manager.
Okay.
Worked in the finance department, and that's when you really see a lot of the whole business. In other words, getting the deal financed, getting it bought at a bank and a lender, and selling warranties and gap coverages. And back then, we sell a lot of LA&H, life, accident, and health. We would sell those on contracts. Like if somebody
Is that
died,
right?
Yeah, if somebody died or got sick or something.
Well, again, it has to do with Emmett, right?
LA&H, yeah. But we did all those products was something we did, and dealerships do that still today, But being the finance manager and knowing the back end of it was it. And then later as a sales manager, and then a general manager, and then owner.
Oh, okay. So you actually worked through the same dealership, right?
Mm-hmm.
From the bottom all the way to the top?
All the way through the top, yep.
So what, 20 years? Or?
Yeah, about 20. Well, altogether, I worked for the Gosh Auto Group. They were in town. They started in Hemet in 1969. And I worked at their dealerships. I was a finance manager of a Honda dealership. I was the general sales manager of a Chevrolet dealership in town. And they were all kind of related. And it's neat that going around and so
basically everybody in the business knew everybody else in the business.
It's a smaller circle than you think, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, you worked your way up to general manager, and then you became an owner. Mm-hmm. What made you decide that you needed to start your own dealership?
Working at four manufacturer or franchise dealerships, there was things about the industry I didn't like.
Well, let's stop for a second. What is a franchise dealership?
That is it could be a Chevy, Ford, a franchise new car dealership. Franchise means a new car dealership that sells the new vehicles, whether it's BMW or Cadillac or Mercedes or Jaguar. That's a franchise dealership if they sell new vehicles.
So it's kind of like Keller Williams or...
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, no problem. See, he actually works for a living. So that's good.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is it's kind of like in the real estate business, a Century 21, whatever, all those different franchises of real estate. Mm-hmm. Same kind of thing in the auto industry, except they're specific, right, to one type of brand.
Right.
But they also sell used cars.
And they sell used cars also. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I think it's a misnomer really to call them used cars, right? When you say...
Pre-owned?
Pre-owned. Yeah. I mean, why do they come up with all these different names?
I don't know. Maybe they think it's all the same thing. Pre-owned is used.
Right.
How about pre-loved?
Okay.
Whatever.
Well, the day after that car, you are driving a used car.
Sure.
Absolutely. You are never driving on the second day a new car. Mm-hmm. When you drive it off the lot, it's new. And when you park it at your house, it now becomes a used car.
Sure, absolutely.
And a lot of people get that confused because of the way people are talking about used cars. Conditioned, what does it mean that it's a conditioned car? Or they have 24 inspection points and all these different things that they add to the used car.
You're talking about certified car?
Yes.
A certified used car is just all that. The manufacturers will send what they call certified vehicles, BMW certified, whatever, and then they really pump it up and try to get more money for the car. But the true fact is that all certified means, according to the Department of Motor Vehicles, is there a checklist? Do you have a checklist of things that you've checked out on this vehicle? Without it being what they call certified, you don't have to have an actual checklist. Did you smog it? And is all the safety features work on the car? That's all they care about. Does the car stop, start? Did it smog? And do all the lights work? And it's all you have to do. But of course, there's a lot more things that need to be done to a vehicle to recondition the car for resale. So we have at VIP Autos at my dealership, we have a checkpoint. There's a checklist of things that we go through. So they are actually certified cars. Not only are they certified, again, I'm not trying to be a salesman for my dealership, but we use a Carfax, which gives you the history of the vehicle. We also run an auto check. It's another form of a history of that of the car. And then we even run a national motor vehicle title information, a Navitas report we call it. And so I'll check all the states. Has it been to a different state? Did the title get cleaned? Has it been an accident in another state? Things. So by running those 3 reports and do a physical inspection, we're going to be finding a problem up front before we have to sell it to the customer.
Well, and it makes sense. So it's like in the real estate business, it's kind of like a home inspection, right?
Sure.
And but not all used car dealers do that, right?
No, not all dealers will have the inspection reports and all that. They don't, because they're not required to. Right?
Yeah, they basically they just have to meet the criteria for the lemon law, right? Basically.
Well, no, that's another interesting thing. Lemon law was really designed for the new cars.
Oh,
that's for new cars. There's not a used lemon law.
Oh,
it's only for new cars.
Only attorneys believe that there's a used.
There's not a new, yeah. And the other thing too is like dealers can buy a lemon law vehicle car that maybe was a lemon, a branded title.
Right.
It actually says the word lemon law factory lemon law buyback.
Okay.
And when they buy those, they're supposed to get a report on what was wrong with it.
Right.
And what they fixed.
Okay.
And then the new consumer would know about that up front. And I've sold in probably a few of those. Maybe I can count on one hand in my 40 years how many of those cars I sold. And they actually turned out good. The customer got a great buy on the car from lemon law. And lemon law can be a lot of different reasons. For example, Volkswagen. They had a thing where they embellished their emission systems, where they embellished what the emissions was on those vehicles.
Didn't they get sued for $1 billion?
They got sued for a lot of money. And then part of that settlement is they had to offer to buy the cars back from the people.
Oh my gosh.
And when they bought the cars back, we were able to buy those cars. And so that was the only reason they lemon, because they embellished what the emission system was. And so those were good deals for people to buy those, So they weren't really buying a car that was broken down or something. It was another issue.
So anyway, the franchise dealership had specific criteria for their salespeople, and you weren't really excited about returning to the franchise dealership model.
Well, there's things like I like to have my Sundays off. The thing was in the franchise dealerships, you're working 7 days a week, many times, weekends, all. And the reason why I opened my own place is I wanted to close the place down on Sundays. The other thing too is
like they do back east, by the way.
They do, okay, yeah. They call it the blue law. I think Texas even had that. They let them pick. They had to pick. Do you want to be closed Saturday or Sunday? Pick a day. You just had to pick one.
Right.
And the other thing is I didn't like the fact that I was at the dealership sometimes till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, finishing deals. And we close at 6. I'm pretty much now. I'll finish a deal we started for, and it'll go over a little bit. I've been here till 8 o'clock, but I don't want to stay that late. We have families too. So, and the only way I was able to do that was to open my own dealership, and like our location, I've always had my eye on the property that we're at for many years. I loved the location where it was, and I always thought to myself, someday that should be a car dealership. And I just thought about it for so many years, and it ended up happening.
Didn't this used to be a 7-Eleven?
It is. In fact, you're sitting right here where you used to get the Slurpees. No,
all right.
No, I don't know if that's true.
Well, but I mean, it was. It
was, yeah. It used to be a 7-Eleven.
Yeah. Wow. And the reason you bought it on Florida was because
it's near the Auto Mall, the traffic, and it's actually right around the corner from the Auto Mall. So I find myself as an Auto Mall alternative.
Right there,
yeah.
And when people are coming home on their commute, they come right past your dealership.
And people that actually work at that dealership have bars from us too. They actually work at a dealership out here. And here's the thing with used cars. Your used car is unique,
Right.
You go to buy a new Chevy Malibu,
right?
LTZ, Malibu, whatever. You can buy that dealership, but you can go to many Chevy dealerships. They all have the same car.
Right.
With a used car. That make, that model, and those miles, and that condition, it's unique,
right,
to that. So it just do you have what they're looking for? And that's why I have a variance of cars with used cars. So I have a '92 Corvette here, right? I'm giving old Corvette that's inexpensive, really cool red Corvette, If somebody wants to have an inexpensive car, you know, a $13,000 Corvette, I got that. And then I also have a 1-year-old Honda CR-V with 7,000 miles on it. So I got the big variety.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, because you have a lot of the
trucks and SUVs.
Trucks and but also a lot of classic cars that you run through here.
Yep.
And like you said, if you could buy a Corvette for $13,000, people are not asking the question, how much did you pay for it? It's a Corvette. It has a certain, it has a certain level of prestige to it. So then you decided, once you started your dealership, you got involved, and next week we're going to talk with Cindy Lemke, but about community service, because she's a big community activist, booster, and that kind of thing.
Super lady.
But you are too. You support a lot of the local charities around here.
You know, if you live, work, or worship in the same community, you want to give back. And I happen to do all three, right? So, and it's fun. You know, it's fun, and you think of it as tithing back to your community. The reason I do involved in all those, it's a way of giving it back, a little bit to everybody. Yeah. And being part of it. It's good for business, but it's also good for the community. You get to know more people that way too.
Well, and I understand that you're really big into the boxing world.
And not as much as I used to. Yeah, I was a big part of that. Right.
I see a picture of Muhammad Ali there, and you've got pictures of a lot of famous boxers. Mm-hmm. How did you get started in boxing?
I was involved with amateur boxing for a long time. Okay. And then entered in a senior tournament, which means I never was professional, but in a senior tournament, and I did real well in the senior tournament. And what's neat through that, I got to fight an exhibition. Actually, got to compete against one of my heroes, and it was Armando Muniz. I was a welterweight fighter in the '70s that terrorized the welterweight division. I call him the People's Champion. And he did an exhibition, and that was a blast. I even did an exhibition with Greg Haugen. Greg Haugen was the first one to beat Hector Macho Camacho, who was undefeated.
Oh yeah, he's a big name.
Big name, and then Greg had also had knocked out Ray Boom Boom Mancini. I always liked him real well too.
Oh wow!
But it was neat doing that, and he and I were the main event of a thing called Battle of the Badges. It's a program for cops for kids.
Right.
And they have police officers and firemen that compete against each other, and so we were the main event for that. We were the celebrity match.
Celebrity match. And you're still involved in that, correct?
Yes, I am. Yeah. So once to twice a year, I guess we do now, twice a year. We do at the casino, Saboba, Rongo, Pachanga, wherever will have us. And I'm in the back when the hands are wrapped and just lining them up and putting them in order for when they come in to fight.
Making sure they're not putting anything fancy on their glove.
We have guys, so like kind of like a commissioner, just laying up the fires. But the thing is, I go there and have a great. Jeff Penn does such a great job with his staff that it's lined up. I go there. There's really not much to do because they've got it so dialed in that I do is show up with a suit and a badge and just watch it happen.
And be the commissioner.
it's
wow, that's good. And you've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, since the beginning, we started in '99, so now it's 27 years.
27 years old.
27 years, yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Now I also understand that you're a past president of the Chamber of Commerce here.
Yes. So past president of the Chamber of Commerce, or the chairman for the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, you're very humble.
I
guess it's chairman, right?
Yeah.
Because the president is reserved for the executive.
They have just chairman, and then they have executive director.
Director, right. But
that's
like in Corona, the executive director decided he wanted to be a president, so he could have executive directors underneath.
Yeah.
But the chairman is, but you were the leader.
Yeah, I was vice chairman and then chairman, and it's a cycle. You rotate it out. Right. And it's something you need to do. It's a 2-year commitment.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, I think you donated a car to the chamber so that
they called it the Memorable. It was an electric car, a little electric car, Fiat electric. It's all wrapped. And what we did, we had other businesses all go in together in that and advertise that on there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was just fun. We did some trade out with them, and that was nice to.
And then speaking of electric cars, What's your thought process on electric cars? And it looks like electric cars, at least in California, are going to be taking over.
We need more charging stations, make that easier. You can see gas stations everywhere, but I think if we increase the charging points, there'll be more sales with that.
Right.
Because you get where there's models of cars, like I'm driving a Ford Focus electric car. It only has a 70-mile range,
Right.
And then but then you can get the Teslas. They have up to 300-mile ranges on those, or
right.
even more sometimes. But the whole idea is you just need to know how to drive them, how to use them, how to charge them, when to charge them, and just your lifestyle does change a little bit with an all-electric car.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, I guess the hydrogen car never really got off the ground.
And you can buy those cheap.
And you get free hydrogen, right?
But you have to drive to Corona, I think, to go get it. Yeah. You have to tow your car to Corona and get some hydrogen to drive back.
Yes.
But those, these things will come. It's just in time, right?
Implementation. So are you interested in when Joby starts selling flying cars to be able to have a used flying car on your lot?
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I've been reading up on that. That's interesting. It's like, flying a drone, like a large drone, you're sitting in it.
Right.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah, so, but it'll make commuting a lot easier until a lot of people, and then pretty soon there'll be too many.
You got to get your pilot license, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think actually, I don't think you have to have a pilot's license, at least not now. But anyway, FCC is working on it. We'll see, or
It was FCC.
FCC, yeah.
FCC.
Yeah, they're working on it. So eventually, one day, that's going to happen. But do you see any more changes in the field of automotives?
I tell you, it's changing all the time. It really is. AI is a big part of it, right?
Okay.
So in the industry, but it's affecting every business. AI does.
Oh yeah.
If you can go on my website and ask me questions at 1, 2 in the morning. There's not a person. Her name is Emily, and she's AI. She'll
Right.
give you a lot of good information, but set it up for us to take it from there. But
Right.
it's really neat. And I'll tell you, it's very intelligent, this AI. They'll ask questions about the car. What's the horsepower of this car? And things like that as a salesperson, you may not have to know. You have to look it up. But Emily, she knows it. She'll tell you what it is. Everything, horsepower, miles per gallon, because it's just intelligent. And what's neat that somebody brought a gift, a plant, and some flowers. About a car, wanted to make sure that we gave these to Emily. And I didn't have the heart to tell him it was actually AI. It wasn't even a real person. But we said, we'll make sure she gets it.
Well, and see, that's a big change.
Yeah.
And if dealerships don't adopt AI, they're going to be left in the dust.
They're doing it. It's there. It's
Well,
that's
I'm sure
a big
all the
change,
major franchises are way above.
Yeah, we're doing it in a little way, so a small way, right?
Yeah. But that's okay, though. Mm-hmm. It has really made a lot of changes. So, in conclusion, what would you say you bring to the table? I know you're going to create this Autonomics for high school kids, and you're actually, we're trying to set up right now with Rotary clubs to kind of share that information with them so that they can influence people in their communities to start teaching this. Because, I mean, kids nowadays are the big decision they're trying to make is, do I buy a car or do I Uber?
Right.
And
buying a car is more than just a financial decision. It's a deeply personal
Right.
thing, right? And then the thing is that especially for young people, it's not just where's the car and that's the car payment. We want to lay out, hey, here's the maintenance. Here's what it costs to maintain the car.
Right.
The maintenance, the fuel, your insurance costs, especially for young people, insurance costs is a big thing. I've had people can afford cars, but sometimes they can't afford the insurance.
Exactly.
Right? So there's more to it in just buying the car, and young people don't see the big picture. And I just think it's good for them to know that, because we want to set them up for success, not failure.
Right.
They can get a car and have the car repossessed and picked up and lose it in 3 months, right?
Exactly.
We want to set them up for their financial future.
Right.
Where they can know the maintenance, know what it costs them, and make sure it's something they can afford to do, so they don't get themselves and ruin their credit over something like that, because that's the start of their future. It really is.
Well, see, and that's what's interesting about Autonomics is that teachers are teaching economics, right? How to trade stocks. Well, these kids aren't going to be doing that. How to improve your credit score. Well, guess what?
We can help with that.
Buying a car is going to have the biggest influence on your credit score.
Sure.
And credit cards, we're talking about credit cards. But the bottom line, everything comes back to the car. Because that's their number one purchase, right?
Gets them to school, gets them to their job, right?
And creates job opportunities.
It does.
Delivery person or whatever. And we'll talk about some of those things in future shows. But anyway, it's been great interviewing you,
Thank you, Ken.
Richard. And the bottom line is that I think people don't. Well, I'm going to end it with this: is that I came here one time and you were talking to some young lady about her credit, fixing her credit, and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And I'm sitting there going, "Why are you doing that?" And you said, "Well, because once her credit gets better, maybe she'll come back and buy a car from me."
Sure.
So that's really the purpose of the book, right? Is to teach people what it is about buying a car that you need to know before you buy a car, not after you buy a car.
Right.
Because most people learn everything about buying a car after they bought the car.
Sure. A lot of my educations come from mistakes, right? Things that I've done. Think, okay, wow, I won't do that again. And I just want to be able to share that to people.
Yeah.
And like the title of the book is How to Buy a Car Without Being Taken for a Ride. And that's what it is the whole idea is to save them time and money without the dreaded hassle. But there's more to it than just buying the car. Knowing about the financing, right? The financial planning and credit, fixing your credit. Because the thing about, if your credit is challenged, you're going to pay a lot more for that car than if your credit was much better, was a higher credit score.
Right.
You have lower interest rates, which you have a lower payment and more affordable, and again, set you up for the future. And the person that you heard me talking to, there was just a couple things, a couple easy fixes that would have made a big difference.
Right.
And
She
I
had
was
no
showing her-
idea.
She had no idea, right. And she didn't have to pay somebody to do it. I showed her how she could do it herself.
Well, people are paying $2,500, $10,000 to get their credit fixed.
Yeah.
And they can actually
Don't
just
fall for
roll in
that.
and talk to
Yeah.
Richard Perry for a cup of coffee and use that $10,000 that they would have done and bought a car.
When people come to the dealership, when they buy a car, I congratulate them.
Right.
And if they don't buy a car, I thank them for their time. Thank you for coming to visit. And I just want to make sure, I don't want you to sound corny, but if they leave, I want them to leave with something.
Right.
That hey, I met this guy and I'm better because I'm better now since I met him or I've talked to him. I want to give them some good information that'll help them, because when they drive by and look at my place, drive by, they go, well, that guy was good. He helped me out with something.
So they can get the book right now on Amazon, right?
They can. You can get the book on Amazon, How to Buy a Car Without Being Taken for a Ride. I'll tell you, it'll save you a lot of money and a lot of time. And after you read it, share it with somebody else.
Yeah, and it's saving you more and more money after $50,000 for the average car now.
That's right.
So yeah. So anyway, it's been great interviewing you, Richard. And next week we'll be talking to Cindy Lemke. She's a banker. Before that, she was executive director at a chamber. Mm-hmm. And you guys are going to talk about community and why it's important to be part of your community.
Great show.
And also a little bit about financing and how to help kids not blow up their credit before they ever actually get a lot of it. Yep. So anyway, thank you, Richard.
You're welcome. And looking forward to seeing you then. Okay. Bye.
Boom.
Good?
Yep.
It's a